point. It's here at his lowest point. Well, then he's going to be compressing as this stuff in his body compresses downwards, yeah? And so we go that down and then compress. And then again, I'm giving it a couple of frames. You know, there'll be a kind of as he comes out of this, as the compression, the liquid will kind of push in the other direction as he comes out of this. So we're going to bloop, and he'll go up to his highest point, which is, but his highest point is actually frame 6 on this. So in frame 6, we want Monty to be kind of flattish again. So in frame 6 he's going to compress down because, you know, it's the air pressure. Maybe not quite as much as before, but so bloop and then down. And as he falls, as Monty falls, I'm going to bring up this controller again, which shows me where we are. As he falls on the Y, again his lowest point is frame 9. So he's kind of compressed. Well, as he falls, he's falling from what frames? Let's see, he's kind of falling frame 7. Where is he falling here? Here he was. So let's see. So frame 7, he's falling. So that means on frame 7, I'm going to pull him up again as he stretches on the fall. And now here's an interesting thing, because look, we don't want a one frame transition. We got 2 here, we got 2 here, we got 1 here, and this would just give us this weird thing. You're going to have this 1 in both directions, which is going to just look weird. So you kind of have to make decisions here. You got a flat, he's straight, he's kind of down on this one. There are different things we could do here. I mean, if you want him, I could lower this so it's less apparent. Let's see how this works. So up, down, and then maybe on the up he's not really, he's going up, and then he'll come back down. On the 8 we're going to squash him down again. So you just sometimes just have to eyeball these things and try and work out what's going to be the best thing. So that should line up with this frame here. So this is essentially the same frame. So that and that, and then what we could do, we can have a look at this again. We can do the lazy thing. We can just repeat this until frame 7. I'll make sure that 1, copy, and 7 are the same. Paste, okay. And I'm going to drop both of these down so they are. I'll drop both these frames down together. So this looks a bit so like that, and then go like that, and then I'm going to get rid of this. So we've got we've got, you know, we can cycle this until 13 because the body is going to mimic both feet. So let's just do that and go curves, post infinity, and cycle. And let's have a look at this. Let's go to see if we're on the right track. That kind of looks okay. I wonder if we just want to crack this up a little bit more. So, and another thing you can do, you know, these curves are slightly boring. You know, as he drops, maybe we want to kind of lag on this. We want this higher up just before the drop, and then squashed more actually during it. And then what does that look like? I'm just going to raise these two up slightly. Oops. Remember, these two keyframes are the same. The same on the sides. So I'm going to go there. I'll turn this way. And a good thing to do curves pre-infinity cycle, so I can see where this should, which direction this should be going in. You want the cycles turned on both ways, so you get a sense of it. You know, it can be quite difficult otherwise. And let's see what this looks like. So yeah, this give us a bit more of a kind of bobbing up and down. And of course we've got the and let's see, may take this down slightly like that. And like this. Okay. And you kind of play around with this until you find something that works. Might drop that down a bit as well. You just let's see. So I'll go to frame 12 and have a look. Is this doing as it should? Anyway, we'll try that. So this could maybe be, I mean, part of the issue is it's very fast. We could maybe slow this down a bit. I wonder what would happen if we offset this. That's an idea. Offset this by 1 frame so that there's a kind of lag to it. Would that work? Maybe not. Let's have a look. No, that's not. That isn't working. So I'll just pull that back. But anyways, you can see you kind of you've got to try things out, see what works. Let's look at this one more time. So he's got down and then he's up. Then it's kind of dropping down and flat. I wonder if it's just a question of squashing him down a little bit more here. And let's see, maybe that like that. I wonder if it's just having a little bit more squash there. Maybe that's it. Okay, so you can noodle these things forever, but so this is essentially, and I can bake this out if I think this is good, but I'm going to go to this and I'm going to unmute this. I muted this so I could see. So remember, I can go to the Z and I can just unmute this. So unmute selected. And then I can just make sure that everything minus this is, I'll go to curves, post infinity, make sure it's all cycling. And have a look at this Monty running. Of course, let's see if I just make this a bit bigger. I'll take it up to 60 frames so I can see it. You know, so you have a kind of run here, and we know he's not. It feels a little bit jerky and not very. Let's see. Anyway, I would probably then put a ground in this. I don't even have one, so I'd create polygons primitives. I'm going to make a plane just so he's got something to run on. And there we go. And yeah, you can make that as big as you like. Maybe knock it up to 1,000 so you get a nice horizon line. If you make it bigger than that, it'll seem like a straight line in the distance, which is maybe what you want. So, and turn the grid off, and you have Monty running. Obviously this needs to be kind of finessed. It's a very I've maybe over exaggerated the bounce. I mean, you have to play around yourself to see, and you can do a lot with the legs to get it to work. I guess my next stage after doing this would be to, let's go back to the left hand view again. What I'd probably do now is, with the exception of the the control where Monty is, you know, the control that's making him move forward, I think I would just bake out the 13 frames of his motion. Well, certainly I wouldn't bake out I'd only bake out the controls that I've slipped, because I think if you want to adjust stuff, it's always good to have the other. If I want to adjust something individually on the baked controls, it does mean that I have to go in and maybe delete a few keys. It's not the end of the world, but I've got slipped animation on this, so I'd probably bake this out as well, like edit keys, bake simulation, just so I've got keys on those frames. And then if I was to select Monty, I can find him. Oops. If I was to select him, again, I've got all my animation in one place. And then of course you can render him with a camera, some lights, and yeah, let's see what this looks like on a Play Blast. 60 frames. Yeah, bring in a camera and render it up. What I normally do is I might bring in some lights, and if I'm rendering with Arnold, it means that I'm just going to make these a bit bigger so I can see them. If I'm rendering with Arnold, I would probably, one second, I'm probably going to rack up I have to make sure it's show lights. That would help, wouldn't it? I have to make sure that this just mimics sunlight. It's directional light. So if I render with Arnold, I have to make sure that the intensity is high enough. So I'll make it 4, which in Arnold, so this is what it looks like in Maya software. As soon as I go to the Arnold renderer, it's a very different story. It needs a much higher intensity light. So that's weird. I don't know why it's taking so long. Maybe because it's going to crash, which is a bit unfortunate. But I'll get rid of that in the meantime. Yeah, and that's another thing. Look, I'm not saving my scenes. I mean, just always remember, save your scenes, because you don't know, it could crash any minute. So anyway, so there we go. We've got the, yeah, I would, so I'll just bring this in again and do it. So you can render this out, and you can render it out with a camera, your own camera, and the cameras can be moving, so that you get a sense of his motion as he swings around you. So when I've done that in the past, I would just create a camera. I'll make sure I can see it. So show, where's cameras? There is there. And I'm just going to go to panels now, and instead of perspective, I'm going to pick the camera 1 that I've just brought in. I mean, it doesn't have to be called camera 1. You can call it anything you like. I'll call it cam render, and I'm going to look through the cam render. And so what I could do then is you can actually animate the camera. So if Monty's up here running towards you, you can key first frame here, he comes here, you can swing your camera around a bit. I did this in the examples that I put at the start of this video. I did this over a lot more frames than I'm doing now. So wait a minute, so actually I'll move that forward a bit. So like something like that. So there you go, this. So you get this, the camera's kind of arcing round. So it almost gives the illusion that the character is turning, which of course they're not. Go like this and push it out a bit. And so that. So you get the idea. So you can get a full rotation on this. And the interesting thing about this is I can also go back to perspective view if I want to see what the camera's doing, and I can go again to my faithful motion trail, click it on and show motion trails, and I can see what the camera's doing. Yeah. so I can see it. I'd probably make the camera a bit bigger actually, so we can see what it's doing. You don't want what you don't want when you're doing this generally is a camera to make massive moves over a short space of time. You want to kind of keep it as simple as possible. Yeah. So there you go. That's a run cycle, which you can render out, and hope you like it and give it a go. So I'm sure you'll be able to probably do a better one than I've done here, but yeah, give it a try.